I am Chris O'Connor, and I am one of your hosts for DFW I'm sorry, I'm so not used to saying their name, am I? State of Search by DFW SEM. You'd think I'd get it by now, but you know what? We just talked about our screw-ups, and there we go. Anyways, we're super excited for you to be here. We're getting the last of it all set up, and we'll get going here in about 30 seconds.
Hi, welcome to State of Search by DFW SEM. Thank you for joining us. 19 years of search engine marketing. And your State of Search by DFW SEM board. I'm President Kevin Adams. Vice President is Tim Shane. Treasurer is Mike Stewart. Secretary is Julie Jones. VP of SOS and Hospitality is Chris O'Connor. VP of Membership and Registration is Casey Marquis. VP of Sponsorship, Shelley Rory. VP of Communications, Bill Allen. And board members at large, Rachel Black, Jenna Williams, Jeff Ferguson. If you want to participate in a committee with us, talk to a board member or email membership@dfwsem.org. And now Chris O'Connor is going to talk to you about State of Search.
Hey, everybody. I'm so excited for a State of Search. We are finalizing all the speakers, and we have finalized where we're having it at Grapevine Conference Center, and we have finalized our event, our party. Oh my gosh, you're going to have to be there because it's going to be so much fun. I'm not telling you everything, so you want to buy your ticket. Tickets right now are on sale. You get $50 off the in-person and $25 off the virtual. And all you have to do is go to the website, stateofsearch.org, and click on which button you want. It'll take you directly to the payment portal, and the discount is already there. So I'm telling you, we've got some phenomenal speakers coming, and everything is starting to really fall in place. So this is not something you want to miss. So make sure you go to stateofsearch.org and order your tickets today. Kevin?
Thanks, Chris. I want to introduce Brad Koettel. So when I talked to him about we were talking about his presentation, what he was going to talk about. I really am excited and jazzed about generative AI. I mean, I generally love technology overall, and this is just exciting. And I played with a bunch of the tools, and the stuff that he was talking about, it just blew my mind. I was like, wow, this is awesome stuff. We have to have this on this channel. So I'd like to take it away. Go ahead, Brad. Brad, sorry.
Oh, we lost you, Brad. We lost your volume. I promise everyone we practiced before we went live, and look what happens.
I have the audio glitches 2-3 times a week.
Yep. We'll make it there. Breathe, Brad. It's good.
Yeah, so I hope everybody's having a good week. And I don't know if anybody's into football, but oh my gosh, Cowboys 40-0. I know there's a lot of haters out there, so just filling the air.
Yeah. It was a great football game. There was several great football games. I'm a football fanatic, as you can tell. I have football surrounded by me. I'm in my Cowboys room, and I mean, Monday night's game, Sunday's games, last Thursday night's game. I think this is going to be a crazy football season. Crazy football season. So
we're heading into the holidays, and all the e-com marketers are going to be heating up. going to be lots of sales.
There he is. Oh,
Right.
it's funny.
All right,
He
folks.
sent a message and said when we went live, he lost us. So hang on, guys. He's going to go out and come back in. Maybe it's because he's connected with his other.
Possibly. I connect through a Bluetooth headset. And so sometimes it's connected to my phone and my computer at the same time. And if I'm talking to someone through a streaming service and a spam call comes in, I suddenly am muted.
Gotcha.
Right.
Gotcha. Hey, Bill, how's it going?
Hey, Bill. Hey.
And we have, I'm not sure, Lovelore out there. Thank you for being here. We apologize for any hiccups we're having right now. We've been pretty lucky at this all year. This is our first real big hiccup since Martha. And that's because we're playing.
Hey, we want to. Sorry. So I want to thank Bill. He does all of our email marketing. He's relentless and fantastic about keeping up with things. Thank you so much, Bill. That's not an easy schedule to keep.
Yeah, he's trying to reconnect right now. I've got a message from Brad. So what else is happening? It is almost the holidays. I see lots of things happening for people. What do you have planned in your business, at your agencies? Are you gearing up for the holidays? Are you gearing up for marketing? We have a lot of really cool things coming to State of Search this year. And actually, we have several new speakers that are coming to State of Search. So I sure hope that you go get your tickets because it's going to be well worth worth your time. Some of these new speakers have gold, some absolute gold for you not only to use in your agency, but to use in your small business, or if you are a small business or a small agency and you're wanting to stay up to date what's happening in the digital marketing world. These guys, these women, both men and women, have some great options and ideas for all of you. So I just hope that you guys will continue to, come to State of Search. We've got, our goal is to have 150 people there. We're about halfway there. We need a lot more of you to come. We've got some great things planned. As I mentioned, our after hours party Monday night at Hotel Finn. If you've never been, it's a must come to. It is one of the most beautiful hotels in Grapevine. And we've got our own space and our own bar. And it's just going to be a wonderful place to mingle, network, learn, teach, and just have some fun. Sit back and relax. We'll have a full day on Monday, of course. And I have to give you a little sneak peek on lunch hour. Oh my gosh, if you thought last year was fun, I'm hoping this year will be even more fun. But I'm not telling you what it is. You got to come and show up. My board members don't even know what it is. And I have told the president, Kevin, but he's forgotten. So I'm not going to repeat it. But pretty excited to have this going. I guess Brad's having a real hard time.
Yeah, so I'd love to hear anybody what you've been using like generative AI tools for. I mean, I think it's become clear at this point. I mean, fantastic, but it's not going to do everything for us. But man, it can augment, like speed up so many things. Although I am seeing, I guess, to be careful, because one thing I'm seeing is so many emails start off, I hope this email finds you well. I'm like, okay, that was great to begin with, but we have to figure out to diversify. But anyways, man, help me on ad copy. I don't know, where are you? Is it like helping you on a lot of content, Chris?
Oh my gosh, it is. I had a friend of mine who's really into it, and he really taught me how to drill down into a lot of to get really. You have to be specific with it. I mean, really specific to get the right information. And he showed me some tips and tricks a couple weeks ago out at lunch. And Kevin, I have this big challenging client, and he has 4 products to sell, and it's so tough trying to I mean, we all want to niche down, but like this is extreme niche down.
Yes, it is.
I don't even think extreme is the right word, but that's the best word to put in there. But I think the challenge is that how do we get the right information? And it how it helped me is in learning from him, you got to ask the right questions. And there's many different ways that you can ask questions. So that's what I started playing with. And I started uh, asking better questions and maybe re-asking some of the same questions in a different way. And it's amazing how the answers, you can really drill down and get into some really good answers to write for whatever blog. Now I'm mostly in the service-based business, so that's really what I'm doing. But this one client is not a service-based. He's got chemicals that he sells for, and it's a niche business. It's high temperature chemicals for certain machines, and so it's a smaller area to be able to figure out how to get information out there. And so this friend, we just kind of played with it at lunchtime, and it was amazing what we found. And he helped me kind of step outside of the comfort zone of the 4 words, literally 4 words, keywords that work. Oh, there he is.
Hey,
So
Tim.
that's really pretty much what I've learned from it. Brad, are we back? Oh, I'm still not hearing you. Almost. We're almost back. We've been talking a little bit about AI and different things. We can't hear you yet. Uh-oh. Hey, Tim. Glad that you're here. Thank you for coming. We're having a little technical difficulties on Brad's end. Not hearing him. We had him. We
Can
practiced.
you hear me now?
Yay!
Yes. Whoa.
Yay! Okay, here we go.
So something about Google Chrome. We were all set to go, everyone. I promise. We had this nailed.
Yep,
And
we
then
did. We practiced.
we hit live, and then Google Chrome decided it didn't want to do anything. So we quickly moved to good old Safari. So
all right.
yeah.
Oh, right on.
I feel like I stepped back in time a little bit. So
All right. So, Brad, introduce yourself again. You're Brad, and you are with, and you're going to talk about.
that sounds great. Welcome, everyone. My name is Brad Koettel. Now I got to figure out how to share things. I am with a company called Growth Mindset Sales. We're Sandler trainers based here in Dallas, Fort Worth. Our office is in Grapevine. So if anybody finds himself at Grape Fest this weekend, don't come to my office. I won't be there. But we have an office right down the street. We can overlook Grape Fest. And so what we're going to talk a little bit about today, and hopefully we'll get everything moving, is this big question that we hear a lot. So I work with a lot of business owners, a lot of big teams, a lot of small individuals in sales and marketing and advertising, and they're across all different roles across the organization. And they keep hearing about AI. The question I get asked so many times is, am I going to be replaced by this cool AI technology? So we're going to spend a little bit of time today talking about, are we going to be replaced by AI? What are we seeing in the marketplace? We should spend about half our time talking high level about some of these things. I'm hoping to make this an interactive session. So I'm hoping to be able to flip between some things and get your guys' input as we go through, to make this more about us and not about me talking to you. And we're going to have to slim it down a little bit on a couple slides since we lost a couple minutes there. So no worries there. And hopefully we'll leave some time at the end to go over some tools that we see being used in the marketplace today that you guys can quickly adapt and bring into your teams, no matter what you do, in order to try and improve your performance and get some real interesting learnings going based on AI. So does everybody sound good? I can't see everybody, so I'm just going to assume you're all shaking your head saying, yes, that sounds awesome. Let's see if I can get the share a screen button to work. Share a screen. Sure. I don't want to share this screen. I want to share this screen. All right. Can everybody see that screen? Okay. Excellent. So normally I would spend a little bit of time talking about who we are, what we do. We're not going to spend time on that today. In essence, what you need to know about Sandler is we're the worldwide largest training organization. We work with a lot of sales, account management, customer service, client success. We do a lot of C-level and VP level trainings across a lot of different modalities, just in order to really help those people step up and really lean into their roles and be better at what they do. So in general, that's what you know. Hopefully some of you may have heard of Sandler in the past. You might have seen us we do a lot of sales training organizations and sales trainings in large organizations. If you ever want to talk about this stuff, you let me know, but we're not going to focus on that today. This is our quick agenda. So we're going to talk a little bit about AI tech and human solutions. And 2, can you leverage AI now? So I'm going to tell you guys right now, I apologize. I'm used to doing these in an hour and a half. So we're really going to try and skim this thing down in order to be the best use of your time. Okay. As I always say in this platform, use the chat. If you have questions, I have got it right here. I should be able to jump in and answer them. And I assume you guys can go mic on. So ask me all that stuff in live. It'd be even better. So no worries there. If you have any questions, please interrupt, stop, and let's talk about it while we're still on those pages.
So the only mics, I don't want to interrupt you, but the only mics you're going to have is me, Kevin, and you.
Okay. Well, then nobody else talk to me. Darn it. I want to hear it.
They can write it in the chat.
All right. Put it in the chat. That'll be great. Thank you. So let me debunk this right away and make life real easy. When we talk about where we're at in technology and where we're seeing AI today, we are not here yet. Anybody under the age of 30 that needs me to explain why we're not at Skynet and what Terminator is, please stay on afterwards. I'll be more than happy to go over that movie series with you. But we're not at a world today where we're finding that AI is doing all the thinking and all the things and is taking over the world. There's a lot of people in the marketplace that are talking about this and they're scared about this and they're saying, hey, this is things we have to figure out, and they're not wrong, right? You'll hear a lot of discussions about how do we start to prepare for this AI technology moving very, very fast. And some people are really afraid today that we've already gotten past that. But what we're telling people is we're not at this world, right, where AI is going to do everything and we're all just going to get to sit back on our Barca lounges and watch TV. So let's see how good I can be at switching tabs and making this work. Can you all see that?
Yes.
All right. Well, let's try this. We're going to go through a couple engagement pieces, and I'm going to assume that you guys can all shoot that, and I can see who actually logs in to the AHA slides on my side. So I'll give everybody a minute to do that. If nobody logs in, we'll just go through the questions on them. Okay, I'm still at 0200. So there we go. Now we're starting to see people come in, or at least a couple. I will have a cocktail while we wait. So real quick, I had planned on doing a whole set about pizza, really just to make sure we all knew how to use the tool. But since we don't have that time today, we're not going to talk about pizza and pizza establishments. And I would love to take a second and we can go over this. You know what? We're not going to have time. So we're going to kind of skim through some of this. What would you all say about what excites you about technology? If you're on the thing, you should be able to just type in a 1 or 2 word answer, and we should see things start to pop up about what are you excited about? What are you seeing? What do you want to What about AI technology has you excited going forward? You should be able, there it goes. So we've got some people saying, hey, they want to be faster to market is what it looks like. They're really interested in the automation and the innovation side of what we're doing. I'll give it another 10 seconds. And that's exactly, I think what we're seeing interesting is the faster to market, seeing people using AI to get results faster. I see ease of use in creating context, shifts the focus to answering the right questions. Ooh, that's really good. So yeah, these are all things that we're saying. I really like John saying, hey, we're going to shift the focus to answering the right questions. What we want to talk about is, in general, when we talk about AI, is can you guys name some things that you think are going to be the parts of your job today that are most ripe for automation to come in? And you feel like, hey, if I'm not paying attention to this, these are some of the areas. I can restart that timer, I bet. Yeah, I can. So what's most in your job? I think the day to... Give this a minute to kind of go. New meetings, operations. Ooh, I like operations. One of the things I was going to ask is where everybody sits in the pipeline, but since we're short on time, I'm not going to have a chance to go over that. I do like the prospecting. I like the product information. And look, you can tell by the operations is really one of the ones that are kind of the biggest levels. And my last question for everybody is, what parts of your role do you think are best suited for human interaction? So what can't we automate and what can't a computer do that you can do? Give that a minute to go. Whoever the bad speller is, love it, because I'm a terrible speller on my phone. I'm going to put another couple minutes on there. So when we talk about what things, when we talk about AI, we really have to talk about the difference between what a computer is good at and what are humans good at and why that becomes part of this discussion, right? So when you think about it, there are certain things that are particularly designed for AI to be good at. Speed and efficiency, right? So if you've got a lot of data and a lot of information and you need to crush through it fast, AI, right? If we want accuracy and scalability, we don't want to rely on an individual to do the math or an individual to do the analysis, then straight up, right? When can we bring in technology and computers and tech and data to do that type of information? And, one of the things we're seeing a lot of is the addition of safety and parameters into it. So you look at all of the self-driving cars and the Teslas with the driving technology, all that safety, right? And yeah, you hear about an accident every now and then, and that's terrible. But if you calculate that of all of the mathematics going on behind and the computer making those decisions, and safety is critical to what it's really good at. Now, John, I really loved your answers. When we look at the next thing, we say, what is really requires human intervention? And this is across all jobs, all roles, all experiences, right? Is if you're looking for a computer to make contextual understanding, it's going to be really, really difficult to do that, right? There's this old talk about whether or not a computer can understand simple sentences like, hey, we couldn't fit the shoes in the box because it's too big. Well, you and I know based on contextually, like, okay, the shoes are too big for the box, but the computer can't determine the contextual part of it. One of the things we talk about a lot here is basic communication, right? Is so much less about the actual words that are being spoken, but it's more about tonality and body language. I think they've determined like less than 10% of communication is the actual words. Well, hey, guess what? In the AI technology and in the world in AI, it's all about words, right? They can't read body language. Computers are not able to read tonality, right? They take the content that's there and they regurgitate it in order to give it back to you in a different way, but they lose all of the contextual understanding, emotional intelligence, intuition, and they have no morality, right? There's also been tests done where they run analytics behind if you're in a car and it's got to crash into either what's onto your right or onto your left, and on your left is a school bus full of kids, and on your right is an 18-wheeler, it can't decide, right? It's got no ethics. It's not able to look at what's going on in there and say, hey, I want to crash into the 18-wheeler because I don't want to crash into this truck or this bus full of kids. So the concepts here and what you need to think about, and when people are saying, hey, is AI going to take over my role, right? We always tell you, if your role is full of these things, right? If you're using communication, if you're using your emotional intelligence, creativity, if you're using those as part of your job today, then you're less at risk for a technology to come in and drop off and say, I can replace this part of what you do. We're going to talk a little bit at the end about programmatic media buying. But if you think about it, that's where we were 10 years ago. 10 years ago, we had people in a programmatic media buying role whose job was to go, or just in a media buying role, whose job it was, is to go out and say, okay, I want to buy ads for Ford Motor Company. And I need to make the decision of, do they go in Time Magazine or do I put them in Sports Illustrated? You know, in a very short time, programmatic, which is just a computer with a brain, right? It's automated with a brain. It started to take away that role and it started to automate that process. Now, did we lose all of those people? No, we didn't, right? We took those people and we made them learn how to use the tool. And that's the real killer and the real trick of what's going to happen. So anybody know Steve Jobs? Nobody can raise their hand. I can't see anybody. It's very weird. So this is a video clip from Steve Jobs from the late 70s. I'm going to play it. It's about a minute long. I hope you all can hear it. If not, I will send it to you when we're all done here. But it's an interesting concept of where they were in the 70s and in computers and how we can talk about that today. Come on, computer. We're crossing our fingers that this works. Please, dear little baby Jesus, come on.
It's okay. Breathe.
So I was prepared for that to go bad. Instead of using the embedded version, we'll use this version. Or we won't use any of them. Come on, man. Okay, the Restream software is killing me. I'm going to give it about 2 more seconds and then move on.
Yeah, the streaming tools they're still a little rough around the edges at moments.
Well, they either
All right.
work well or they don't.
Yeah.
So let me paraphrase because, you know, Steve Jobs is an old video anyway. Nobody likes it. So back in the 70s, Steve Jobs was talking about computers. And clearly he was talking about the power of what we're able to do with the computer and what that is allowing them to do. And he compared it to a survey or a study they had done about, and I'm going to try and get all his right words. He's way smarter than I am, about locomotion. So what they did is a study of all these animals and said, how efficient in locomotion is each animal? And so they would look at how efficient is a giraffe going from point A to point B, and how efficient is an alligator, and how efficient is certain types of birds, and how efficient is human. And what they did is they laid this out on a big chart, and they determined that the condor, of all the things they tested, they find the condor was the most efficient in getting from point A to point B of all of the animals. And then when they plotted humans, right, they get to about halfway down and they find humans are in the middle. And it really perplexed the guys that did it. And somebody at inside the program finally had a thought of said, what if, we're mid 70s, right? What if instead of looking at just humans, but what if we looked at how efficient a human uses a tool like a bicycle, a simple tool that they've created in order to change their capability set? And where does that put them on the efficiency of locomotion? And suddenly, right, the tool that the human used makes him the fastest person on the planet and the fastest animal on the planet, way blows out the condor. So the concept of, are we going to be replaced by computers? No, we're not going to be replaced by computers. What we are going to do is we're going to find that people who use computers, right, are going to be the ones. There we go. So you're most likely not going to be replaced by AI, but you are going to be replaced by somebody that uses, or a company that uses AI to improve their performance if you don't do it. So this is the main thing I want you all to grasp onto, right? Is you're not going to lose your job most likely. That's not going to happen. I mean, maybe, but I seriously doubt it in the next couple of years that suddenly we're all going to be, paying attention to what the AI says we have to do. But if you are behind the schedule of using AI and adding AI into whatever role you've got, be it sales, be it hands-on keyboard, setting up ads, be it SEM, SEO, PPC, be it social media, the whole 9 yards, whatever you're doing, if you are not using AI, you're going to start to be behind. And the companies that don't start to increase AI or add it to their tools or technology stacks, they're going to start being left behind. Again, I would normally ask for a raise of hands. Can't see anybody. But my raise of hands question to you is, have you noticed the tools that you have been using for years all of a sudden now have these really cool notes? Hey, we're using AI and here's how we're doing it. Right? How many people got the LinkedIn note when they went to go check in their LinkedIn last time and realized it said, hey, do you really want to rewrite your profile using our AI tool? I did. Tried it out. Wasn't so bad. Right? But you're seeing these tools that you use every day being capable of having AI run in them and being able to use that AI in different ways on the platforms. HubSpot, your CRMs. I mean, there are AI tools that we're using that you guys probably don't even know are AI tools. I recently discovered, one of the reasons that Chris and I were laughing before this is I was using a little tool on my computer called Crisp. Crisp is a little tool that runs on the microphone in order to take out the background noise. Hey, guess what? They're now using AI in order to do it better. Like these tools, these people are using AI everywhere. So, everybody good there? Any questions? Any concerns? Anybody think I'm crazy? State of Search is using Crisp. Mine didn't work. So if you hear my dogs barking in the background, it's because my AI tool failed. Darn it.
I think it's working because I don't hear them.
There we go. All right. So if we have no questions about that being the high level thing, out of anything you take out of, hey, Brad, am I going to get replaced by AI? Probably not. But we want to teach you how to use AI better and in different situations and in different circumstances. So if we're all cool with that, what I want to do is transition a little bit into some of the tools that we are seeing become very ubiquitous in the market that people are using as AI that I didn't know much about a year ago. And so we wanted to share some of these tools with you because I think you're going to find that they're super powerful and that they'll give you a next step into that AI tool. I was going to ask you guys on the little question thing about who's using what, but again, I think we're just going to skip through that because it's not working very well. I blame me. So one last thing, there's a Sandler rule that we've written, literally the concept of leverage technology to engage with people, not to hide from people. So we have a real long story about this, about not using email to communicate with your clients to pick up a phone call, to, if all you're doing is emailing people and you're never talking to them, hey, guess what? I can write a program using AI to do that email. I don't need you. But if you're building a relationship, if you're communicating with your buyers, if you're talking to your account management, if you're managing your team face to face, those are the things that you have to be able to do personally, and then use technology in order to do better at it. So 3 things I want to talk about in order to get started with AI. And we think really important things for you to start leaning into. Number 1, learn. The fact that you came, or you're watching this down the road, or you're here today, learning more about what's available out there is where most of us need to be right now. There are podcasts aplenty. I can recommend a handful of really good ones. You go into your podcast, type in AI for whatever you want to learn about, and you'll get 10 podcasts about marketing, sales. You'll get it about management, leadership. They're all there. John, that's a great question. Our call centers of the future. We want to talk about that one. I'm going to put that on the side because it's interesting. But learn. There's tons of data that's out there. Follow people that are influencers on it. So keep learning about it, because it's not going away. It's not going to. If all you were old enough to remember when Google's automated bidding platform came in, we all thought, they were going to go away with that in a couple of weeks. It's not going away. It's going to keep growing. So learn now so that you're learning at the same speed or before most people and on the cutting edge of it. 2, a great way to get started is to stop now. We're getting ready to roll into Q4, and take a deep breath and assess what's going on, right? Where are you using AI? Where could we be using AI? Where's our competitors using AI? What's going on in the market around us? And really take the time to plan out what has to happen in 2024 for you to be either riding the wave of the curve or being bleeding edge to it. Like, I don't recommend anybody run out and bleed edge to AI, but you have to keep up with where things are going. You have to plan that out. You're seeing a lot of people add headcount to their staff in order to say, hey, you're my chief technology officer needs to be in top of AI, or there's some other roles there they're bringing in order to have people stay on top of the AI side. But make sure you take the time now to plan out, like, what's that next 6 months look like? Don't bother trying to plan out the next 3 years of AI. It's going to change so fast. It's not worthy. But start thinking 6 months out, like, what should we be integrating? What tools can we make better? What could I be doing differently in order to use these tools to be more effective? And the third is start small, right? Very few of us in this room are ready to start going out and writing our own AI engines. But again, there are tools and there are things you can put in place today just to start scraping the edge of what does it look like? Hey, here's a cool tool that we're using. It's AI driven. It's giving us this data. What do I do with it? Or heck, there are chat bots today using it. So sound good? So some of the tools I want to talk about. If you guys have been in marketing as long as I did 22 years. Feels like a prison sentence sometime. 22 years in digital marketing and advertising, right? And I remember when these slides used to look a lot smaller for display and Google search. And now we're already seeing images like this come out with what is the AI landscape? What are the tools that are being used? And this is quick. This is 6 months, right? Maybe 9 months of data. And you're starting to see tons of new tools coming out. And I know you've all seen this slide for marketing and advertising across the board, and it's unlegible because it's so big and so small. You're seeing this start to happen where there's general writing tools, selling tools, support chats, marketing tools. There's how do I make images? Whatever your part of the world is that you're working in, you can start to find AI tools out there that you can start to play with and learn about in order to add to what you're doing. How many people have played with Chat GPT? Like, I don't know how far you've gotten on it. I don't know what you've learned about it. But you're finding now, like, people are starting to get into it and learn, and it's going so fast. That's just the tip of the iceberg compared to what these tools are doing. There are a couple of them I want to talk about today because I think they're things you can start working on. We said we were going to talk about programmatic display. Anybody here that might have worked with me has seen a deck like this before. I've been a big fan of Robot with a Brain for a long time. He's been updated since last time I pulled his image, but programmatic display advertising is an AI tool that we are all familiar with in this world, right? We know people in our agencies and organizations that do this. Everybody's got it now. Amazon's using it. Every major player, so many platforms saying they've got AI, but it's all it is. We just did it 10 years early before the rest of the world caught up. We were doing programmatic buying. We were doing AI buying 10 years ago when we were trying to learn how to do things faster. And most of the people are just catching up. And if any of you are in a programmatic space or running a team or any of that matter, you still struggle to explain it to people, but it's a lot easier today to explain it because they're beginning to understand the concept of AI and what it means. And I'm not going to go through which AI programmatic tool to use because that's way too much time to be done. So I want to talk about two tools specifically that we're seeing being used a lot. And neither one of them are sales tools. So we do a lot of sales talk, but both of them are outside of sales environments. And they're things that you guys can start looking into. Maybe you can use them, maybe you can't, but they're really fascinating about what the tool looks like and what it can do. So there's a tool called Talogy. I don't know how many of you are involved in hiring or bringing on new staff or in part of the hiring process. You may not hire for your team, but you might be part of the interview process. We're seeing that role, right? And I'm talking about that role for every position, from the office manager to the VP of sales to the VP of marketing to CEO. We're finding AI is becoming a really big player in the recruiting and the HR roles, right? So when we talk about recruiting and hiring, AI can do a really neat thing. If you partner with the right people, they can use their years of experience, and this Talogy company is one of them. They've got like 75 years of data. They didn't know what to do with it, right? They've just been collecting all this hiring data, recruiting data, job roles, et cetera, and who fit those jobs. Well, now what they're able to do is use AI and determine, like, okay, who fits these roles, who got placed in these roles, what are the main things that people need to do in these roles. And then if you add a tool like this to your recruiting, you get really, really cool data. Let me see if I can pull the report. Hopefully I will be able to share that on my screen. Doop, doop, doop. So this, and this isn't going to be great because it's going to be too big, but this is a Talogy report that you can get. Can you guys, hopefully you can all see that. I'll make it a little bit bigger. But what it does is it takes a new, let's say you're trying to hire somebody for your open account manager role or your open SEM partner, right? You can have that person go out, take an assessment, and in 20 minutes, right? We're not talking hours. They take a 20-minute online assessment. They submit it to you, and then you get to go back and say, I want to know if XYZ, right, fits what we've determined as the sales manager role. I just happen to pull a sales manager one. They've got roles for everything, right? And I'm not kidding you. Like when you look at the Talogy list, this is the website, and I say, hey, I need a role. I'm going to hire. What do you want to hire? You want to hire a marketing manager? Boom. They've already predefined what those characteristics are that are going to make somebody successful in marketing manager. Hey, you need to hire somebody as a technical design specialist, right? Technician. You need to hire a project manager. You know, we're all involved in those hiring processes. You can go in and say, hey, I screened Brad. I really like him. I want him to take this test, right? And I want to run him against, we have him for sales manager. But you know what? Maybe he comes back and he fails for sales manager. What do you do? Well, I really like him. Seems to be the right guy. I think he's really motivated, but he's the wrong job for sales manager. I can run him back after that and say, you know what? Maybe you're not a sales manager. Maybe I need to run you for, who knows, analyst. You can run the same person through the test. And what you end up with is, hey, does this person hit sales manager? Well, he's 78%. We're not saying he's good. We're not saying he's great. We're giving you literally AI-driven data back that says, hey, overall, he shows a high potential for success in this role. But he's going to have some issues. He's going to have his business acumen based on what we know about him and what he tested and what he provided us and what you've decided is important. We need to look at this. We need to talk about that business acumen. What are we going to do with it? Here's what I really like. And I would have killed to hire with a tool like this, right? If I could know, hey, his most natural behaviors, he can adjust his coaching style. Oh, my redaction is still on. If he could adjust his coaching style, that'd be great. But guess what he can't do? He's really not great at ensuring that development occurs by removing obstacles. So if that's important to me, I need to know that. I need to know that this guy, that this individual, although he hits a 70 to 80% and he's green and we like him, there are still things we need to know about him. This is all AI driven. It's all done with data in the back end, right? And these tools are out there pretty aggressively. They'll tell you everything you need to know in a quick 20-minute assessment and a pressing of a button. And we get these reports back for our clients and they were doing them. And, as soon as they get the test back, I get a kickback that says, hey, we've identified that you want an account manager or a analyst or a PPC specialist or whatever that is. These are the things that you told us that need to be critical. And oh my gosh, he can't drive any results. You sure you want that person? Maybe we need to find a different role for him. Because we all know hiring today is really, really difficult. And yeah, Chris, I agree with you. I wish I wish I'd have had these tools 10 years ago. Because we all made some stinky hires, right? Because I didn't have anything. I just had to go on whether or not we liked him and whether or not he seemed like he knew what he was talking about when he was running PPC campaigns. So it's a really cool use of the amount of data that's out there and what you can find on people. And even these things will come back and tell you at the end of them, it's like, hey, there are some things that you need to know specifically about them. This guy's got low energy. And if that's important to you, you need to know that's important to you. He's not really willing to take risk taking. He doesn't have any urgency, but you know what? He's great at accommodating for others. Like these are the types of things that can really change who you hire, how you communicate with them, and how you work with them going forward. All AI driven. So that's my cool profile on Talogy. Wonderful. I would tell you this, if you're recruiting at all, get an assessment tool. They're everywhere. Lots of people have them. I can give you some recommendations. I can show you more about Talogy if you need to, but really amazing. Sorry, I'm reading the text. So really great tool, but if you're not using something in that today and you're still resting on, hey, I just think he's a good fit, I recommend you look at adding some tools. This is my favorite tool by far, and it's probably the last one we're going to have time to go over because I want to leave some questions and answers, and if anybody has it. Again, I was hoping to get handshakes. If you've heard of something called Crystal or Crystal Knows, then proud, great, fantastic. What Crystal is a software tool that predicts personality data, takes personality behaviors on the data that you're in there. So what does that mean to me? What if, so in a sales role, this one's easy to explain, right? Let's say I'm a salesperson or I'm an account manager, right? And I'm managing this account and hey, this never happens, but my main contact at the client quit to go take a different job. And now I have a new client. I have a new main point of contact. Or I get a new boss and I have a new point of contact. Or I have a new new employee that works for me and he passed the Talogy test, but I'm still not 100% sure. We have this really amazing tool called Crystal Knows. Let me see if we can pull it open. I think I've got it on this one. Crystal Knows. So what you go in is, I don't know if anybody here is familiar with DISC styles or DISC assessments, right? What DISC assessments are, it's a communication style. It's not a behavior. It's not a personality test. It's not which Friends character am I most like. If anybody doesn't know who Friends is, come see me. I'll explain that to you after the show. But what Crystal does is it uses your DISC personality and it tells you what are you most likely to speak like and how are you most likely to interact with individuals. Now, Again, you don't even have to take a formal DISC test for this. You sign up for the software, it evaluates you just like it evaluates everybody else. But what's really, really cool about it is if I go into LinkedIn.com, tool that none of us ever use, right? And hey, Chris, I'm sorry, I'm going to do this to you off the top of my head. Hopefully I can find you.
That's okay.
There's our friend Chris, right? So let's say that I go to work for Chris, or Chris is my new account or my new contact at the agency, right? And I'm real concerned about what do I know about Chris? So I get to run Crystal Knows on the back end. And what it tells me about Chris is, hey, Chris, you're courteous, consistent, perceptive. There are things that I should do when I communicate with Chris. I should provide evidence for my trustworthiness, like credentials and my past experience, which I didn't have to do for this meeting. But I should have, because that's Chris. Hey, what shouldn't I do? I shouldn't push hard for short-term results. I shouldn't ask too many probing questions before I've built good rapport. So we can use a tool like this, and all it's done for Chris didn't fill out anything for this, did you?
No.
Not at all. Does
No.
it sound? Not at all. It's kind of scary, isn't it? And let's say, hey, I need to make a good impression when I call Chris. Here's some things I should do. I should show respect for her schedule. That's important to her. I should make her feel welcome. I should use a calm, collected tone. Right? What shouldn't I do? Speak in a way that may seem boastful. Pry for information. So this data is available. And it gets real cool when it starts saying, hey, Brad, you're a DI and she's an SC. So if you know DISC, she's down here and I'm up here. So we're probably going to struggle to get along because we're on opposite ends of the way the DISC assessment goes. But here's how to get Chris to book a meeting. Provide an agenda. Keep your tone straightforward. And you can drill down into these. Why? Because SC types care a lot about their teams and their schedules, and they aren't likely. This information is at your fingertips. And it's not because Chris went out and filled out a form and I didn't ask her, hey, I'd like to get to know you better. Could you fill out this for me? I went in here and took care of it. And I can even go into all kinds of templates that I want to add. It'll actually tell me exactly what email I should write, how I should write it. Hey, I need a follow-up email for Chris. Should probably look like this. Copy and paste that and put it in your Outlook. Shoot it off. You don't have to worry about it. So what we know about these types of things, if you have a manager or a boss, you get a new boss, you want to make a better engagement with them, or you're hiring a new person and you want to make a good relationship with them, we can use these tools, simple tool like this, in order to educate myself on how am I going to best communicate with the people on my team, the people I'm selling to, the people I'm account managing with. Hey, newsflash, I did this for my wife, so I'd have a better conversation with her sometimes because she's different than I am. Like I hate that I've done this on a lot of people, and it's a really amazing tool. And it even this is the edge of. I mean, this is just simple. They've actually included a really amazing integration with Outlook email and in Google and a couple other platforms where you don't even have to go in here and say, hey, I want to send this email about investor pitch to Chris. I can just go ahead and start doing it. And it's ingrained in, it also says, hey, if you're writing this email to Chris and you write something that is written for a DI and not an SC, it'll automatically tell me, hey, don't send this to Chris. Don't do this. Here's what I would tell you to do. Here's the SC version of it. Don't change these words to this, change the words to that. It's a really amazing tool that's available that allows you to start using some of this high-end data in order to figure out who am I talking to? There's no way I'm going to get Kevin, am I? Digital advertiser. Let's see if we're close on Kevin.
And I haven't been posting much for a long while. It's poor practice, so.
But it's going to look at a lot of It's not just looking at your LinkedIn profile, right? It uses your LinkedIn profile as one of its major metrics, but it uses a ton of other tools and solutions and things that are available to it, right? Like there's an amazing amount of data that it's going to capture. Yes, it's best used here. But again, when you integrate it with your email and it's running in your email system, it's just like Grammarly. Works just like Grammarly. Hey, Grammarly's an AI tool. Probably use one. Tim is hollering out that we should do him. Let's see if we can find Tim Shane. I don't know which one Tim Shane is. There's no way I'm going to find him this way, but we'll try one last time.
There you go.
Is that Tim?
That's
Which
Tim.
one? This one?
Yep.
You guys know Tim, so you'll know since he can't talk to me. Yeah, okay, yeah, I'm going to refer you to somebody else. I'm doing it right now.
Yeah, he's our vice president.
Tim's a big guy. I bet Tim is fun at parties. That means he's a chatter, communicator.
Oh yeah, Tim's a great guy.
But look, it tells you like, hey, you know, if you have to look at how I communicate as a DI to just an I, like if I'm going to sell to him, if I'm going to, if I've got a sale that he's trying to buy, and we can change these for all types of communications, right? Like, how do I cold call pitch him? I just want to schedule a meeting with him, right? And hey, I've been trying to get out there myself. You know, these are all different templates you can use in order to get to Tim.
My God.
So if you're in sales or if you're in account management, like one of the things that I see this not being salespeople, it's a no-brainer, right? It's a no-brainer piece of software. Anybody wants the URL, I'll send it to you.
I do. I have a client that needs this desperately. I'm just blown away. I'm trying to be quiet, but I am just freaking blown away.
Yeah. I mean, it's really, really amazing at what's available in the market today. And it's so simple, right? Like it's just a matter of saying, hey, and again, for salespeople, they see it as a no-brainer, right? Like, oh my gosh, like I was talking to a client yesterday who I showed this to 2 weeks ago, and they said, Brad, we really like that tool. And I know you helped me because I needed a fast answer and I hadn't had a chance to buy it yet. And your fast answers sold us a deal worth $4.4 million. And I asked where my 10% was. Guess what I'm not getting? I'm not getting squat. But he's going to go in and invest in the software. And it's not expensive for a company. It's cheap, right? They're not making it super expensive. They're making it engageable. Get into it. Start using the tool. So all that to say, and I was going to do a third tool, but I knew this would happen. It's 7:58, and we're catching up to time. And I wanted to leave a minute.
Can I ask you this? Is the tool just as good as Crystal or better? Because I'm willing to sit here and watch. I'm so excited about these tools.
Crystal is by far the easiest one to show. How many of you guys ever heard of Gong?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so Gong.io is another really great tool. I don't have the images pulled up. I figured we'd get long. What Gong does is it records all your calls. Period. You make a phone call, Gong records it. On your phone, on your computer, I don't care where you use it, Gong records your phone call. And then at the end of the day, again, great for account managers, great for salespeople, great for people that are like trying to sell investors and stuff like that, right? They record all your calls and then it uses AI technology in the background and it scrubs them and says, hey, when you said this, you lost them.
Oh my God.
Don't say that again.
Whoa.
Kevin, it's mind blowing, right? When you do these things and you look at these little bitty tools and you're like, wait, what do you mean I lost him? Well, he's an I, you're a D. You told him he had to do it and you stressed him out because that's the way you communicate. But he's an I and you scared him and he bolted. Don't say that again. Like it's amazing. Yeah. I think it's gong.io.
You're blowing me away. I wish I'd had all these like 10 years ago.
Oh my God. Don't we all, man? Don't we all? And for those of you with kids, just be scared about this is what we have today. Like, help us, dear Lord.
Didn't you say that before you said your wife had a challenging relationship with her mother and started using crystal.
Yeah. So no joke, like she went out and looked up her mom, right? And went, oh my God. And I mean, we're not young. No offense. She's much younger than I am, but I'm going to be 50 this year. And humorously, when somebody showed us this, we were sitting around having drinks one night and she humorously said, I want to know what happens. And she typed it all in and came up and she went, I know this, but I've never thought about adjusting the way that I talk to fit my mom. And you know what? Light bulbs. Thanks, Tim. It is old, but so yeah, look, I think there's a huge future coming, right? And I know we're going to hit time, but what I would tell you is this. I'm going to go back to that slide way back in the middle where I said, where are we at on things? Like, keep learning. I think everybody here just had an aha moment, right? Oh my gosh, I can do that. I can have this tool and do that. That's amazing. What do I do? How do I do this? Right? So just hearing about what's out there, listening to podcasts. I didn't even get a chance to tell the SaaStock story I wanted to tell about the guy that hosted SaaStock in Austin from guys from Dublin, and he wanted to write a song.
Oh, please indulge yourself.
So this guy's like, hey, he's English. They've been running this SaaS conference in England for 15 years. They tried to do it in Austin. COVID hit. They finally got it in Austin. So what did he do? He said, you know what? I'm the headline speaker. I'm going to write a song. We're going to do an Austin song. And he went into a couple different tools. I can list them out. And he had lyrics written for the whole song. And he didn't like them. And he said, press this button, and it rewrote them. And they were hard. Like, bring up this guy, bring up that guy, talk about Austin. I want it to be in a country. And he got all the lyrics for the song. And then he took it off to somebody to actually record it, got the recording back and said, this sucks. This isn't what I wanted. And I just spent a ton of money. So then he went back to a different tool, put the lyrics into a different tool and said, make this into a song for me. Press the button. Immediately a song starts playing. He didn't like it. Press it again. Psh, comes up better. Hey, this is awesome. Found another tool to turn out and say, make a video for this. Now, I don't know why there's a cat playing a guitar in 8-bit graphics on the video. That's what he went with. But it's out there. And I'm not going to try and play it because we've learned that playing video and this doesn't work. But it's amazing that the technology is there, but you have to access it. You as the individual have to go in and use the technology and tell it what to do. It didn't write the song on its own. It needed input, and then it did it. Hey, same thing here, right? Where's my Crystal doesn't just run, right? And just because I have this data, I can make it run, but I still have to do something with it. It still requires you to use the technology. That's how we're gonna ride this wave for a while. So AI with you, that's the technology you need to think about. What can I do? What do I need to do? What do I need more data to do? What can I be better at? Let's find tools. If you guys have questions and you're watching this in arrears, and I'm going to put this last slide up for a couple minutes so you can grab my information. If you have questions about, hey, I have this really weird question about this, how do I automate this? How do I do that? Come let me know. I'm more than happy to share some information, what we're seeing, who's doing what does it look like?
If you're okay with answering, I know we're like a few minutes over, but John O'Grady had that question about call centers.
John, good. Are you still? I'm assuming you're still there, John. So call centers. Let me tell you what we're seeing about call centers. This is one of the more scary things we talk about, and one of the more scary things we're seeing in technology in call centers is call centers can use AI in a couple ways. One, pulling the data off the phone number, or if we're talking about outbound, right? Outbound call centers are now able to do some really wild things. One, they can take that same Crystal Knows type data, and if they know who they're calling, and they can identify that you're a D, like me, then the automated dialer and the automated call on the other side that's going out will then use the D style selling technique and match it to what I think Brad is a D, and then send a call out. Because we know, right? If I communicate with you, if Chris is an SC and I communicate with Chris like an SC wants to be communicated with, Chris is more likely to like me, work with me, want to be on my team, help me do what I need to do, put me in the place. So our roles are to, we all heard the golden rule, right? Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. That's dead. The platinum rule now is do unto others as they want done to them. If I can talk to Chris like an SC and communicate with her in that way, then we got something. So they're using automated dialers now to say, Brad's a D. I want to give him the D automated message that says, hey, D's higher percentage chance to do this, react to this. So I want to give him that call. And here's what's really crazy. There's a guy named Mike Montague. He hosts all of the podcasts for Sandler. And I don't know how many they're on, but they put on one a week and they've been doing it for years. So there's a ton of audio data on him. And they're pulling all of his audio down because he's got enough of it where the outbound caller can sound like Mike using his voice, not pre-recorded, using AI technology. And then when it says, hey, you've asked a strange question that I can't answer. Can I connect you to the human version of Mike? And they say yes. And guess what happens on Mike's phone? His phone rings. He gets a hot call right on his phone. Hey, how can I help you? Oh, yeah. And it sounds just like Mike.
Okay, that's scary.
Wow.
Yeah, it's there. We're getting there. Now that technology is super expensive, right? But
it won't be in a
it's
few
out there.
years, like everything, but that's
It
kind of
won't, yeah.
scary.
But it's amazing what you can do. But more importantly, from a call center, the question of if you can find a way to start to adjust the way that your outbound calls go to match up with the style that's there. And manually, what's happening is they're saying, okay, here's my call list. I have to subset it as to this is call list A. They're my D's. So call them with this script. This is my I's. I subset them and put them here. This is my call script. And we're having to do it manually, but it's real quickly moving to being able to automate that. So
I need a call screener that can like, look, I'm okay with hearing an offer, but I want to hear it the right way. And if you're not going to do that, I don't want to talk.
think about it. Hey man, I'm trying to buy a car and I'm terrible. I've been dragging one foot behind me for weeks. But imagine if that car seller could talk to me the way that I want, knew what my personality was and talk to me. They'll never look it up. They should. So
Yeah, we don't walk around with our Discord on our chest, do we?
you don't want me to keep talking, Chris, but I'm going to tell you do.
Hmm.
I'm going to tell you that if you know what you're doing, you're communicating with somebody new, you can pick up the keywords and the things that they say and the way they communicate pretty quickly. You won't be perfect.
That's true. But
if you get to be good at it, now again, I don't expect everybody to do that. So,
Can you repeat that golden rule again?
well, we all know the golden rule, right? The golden rule is do unto others as you would have them do. I don't know.
Do unto you.
The platinum rule is do unto others as they want to be spoken to. Speak to people in the way that they want to be spoken to, not in the way that I want you to speak to me.
And
Because we're different. And that's huge if you're, like I said, in account management, marketing. Hey, think about the CEO of the company, right? Who's got 10 VPs and they're all different. And he doesn't care because he's the CEO, but what if he did? What if he knew the disc personalities and he knew, and hey, what if he ran Talogy reports on all of them first and said, oh crap, Brad's a VP of sales and marketing, but he should probably be the janitor. What do I do? So it's pretty interesting. So Tim, I don't want to keep going, but I'm going to tell you coaching from an AI is really terrible. If you haven't used ChatGPT 4 and get it to coach you, that's a whole other hour, but it's a really cool thing. But what it doesn't do is it doesn't give you what we call the good old shit sandwich. Sorry, my language. It's after 8. I'm allowed to curse.
Yeah, it's okay.
It's not really good at telling you, hey, Kevin, look, man, really appreciate what you did there. Leading that team, jumping in, being involved. Really great. It's layer 1. Layer 2. you screwed up a couple things. And here's the things we have to talk about. You shouldn't have said this. You shouldn't have said that. You shouldn't have done this. But we really appreciate you settling in and being available. That shit sandwich in the middle, AI can't do yet. AI just tells you, don't screw this up. That's where AI struggles right now on being able to do coaching. But it is really good. If you don't have a manager and you're in account management or sales, or you run your own business or something of that nature, there's some really cool things that can walk you through in GPT-4. So,
And I gotta change the way I'm using the tools, and then look into these tools, and God, it's amazing.
yeah, I can't put in there. Chris, I have a question. So I have links I can send for Crystal Knows and Talogy and stuff like that. If I give those to you, can we broadcast them somehow to say, hey, if you watch this and here's the link to Crystal Knows?
Yeah, we can send that out in our newsletter.
We can also include it in the description of the video.
Yep.
Yeah, that'd be great. I'll send those to you guys here before it gets too late, because I think there's some links in there that are really good. And yeah, obviously, if there's anything we can do, like anybody else needs to see this, so if you're watching this down the road and you say, gosh, I need somebody to see this, it'll be available. Please like and share it. If you guys have any questions, my contact information is there. Cheap, shameless plug. We do have a course coming up on how to sell better using this type of stuff. If you want more information, you can hit the QR code.
Well, I love your growth doesn't happen in your comfort zone. I think that's great. And it's such a true statement, because, if you're in your comfort zone, you're not going nowhere.
You're going.
Yeah.
It's how we named the company: Growth Mindset Sales and Marketing.
Mhm.
Growth. If you're willing, if you don't want to do those things, if you don't want to learn and take that, that's fine. Growth is not mandatory.
Right.
Right? You don't have to do it, but it's highly recommended. So
Yeah, it was a great presentation. Yes, we had a challenge in the beginning, but we
I
worked it out.
apologize.
And it's not your fault. It's just called life. And I'm telling you, for everyone, thank you so much for staying, because I've always said this when I was doing my Clubhouse thing for a year and a half. I swear the last 10, 20 minutes are the most golden nuggets you ever get, ever. And it happened in our show. It happens all the time here. So for those of you who stayed, my mind is blown. My mind is absolutely blown, especially about Crystal. I don't really have a use for it, but I want to use it.
See, Kevin, I told you we were
each
going
one
to.
of these. Yeah.
We're going to blow some rules. Hey, I appreciate you guys' time. Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much, Brad.
Look
Brad
forward to
Koettel,
speaking with you
everyone.
guys soon.
Yeah, really. I
And with
appreciate you
that
coming.
with that being said, make sure you go get your State of Search tickets. And we are ending this right now. Have a great night. Thanks for